The gold medal match then for Class 3, the women's singles. And it's an all-China affair. XUE Juan of Beijing, born and raised there. First Paralympics for her, up against somebody who got the gold in China and Beijing, Qian. It's world rank number 2 in Qian against XUE, who is world ranked number 3. Class 3 is kind of in the middle of the classifications for the wheelchair table tennis. Class 1, those with the least amount of movement. Class 5, for those with the most ability to move with their trunk. And the bats are kept by the official once they're handed over just beforehand, just so there's no shenanigans. And then they're handed back to the athlete. Then the athletes can check each other's bat to make sure they've not done anything that they don't like. And once we get through that, we might get to the toss.
Interesting head-to-head between these two. They've met 9 times. Li has beaten XUE 8 out of 9. XUE Juan in the darker shirt. Li Qian nearest to us in the red.
Yeah, the Chinese very helpfully having 2 different coloured strips, almost like a home and away strip, and very often it is the case, especially when you're watching the Olympics. It's China v China. They will wear different shirts just to help us and you work out who is who.
And Li is the lefty. That helps a bit too. But with the tens of millions of recreational and competitive players in China, it's no surprise that they lead the world in international results.
No, and no wonder that they can say table tennis is the second most played sport in the world, because given the billions that live in China, and they all love a game of table tennis. I'm sure, I don't know how they cook up these stats, but be assured it's a very popular sport.
Well, just as a little anecdote, where I live in Sydney, Australia, there's quite a sizable Chinese community in the area, and so what the local council did to recognise the interest in table tennis, they put a permanent table in the park. It's an all-weather table, and it gets a lot of use, and it's a great idea.
It's become very popular actually around the world. I know in the UK they do the same sort of thing as well, but I think most nations got a way to go before they catch up with the amazing results the Chinese get. Just saw the results of Li, who has played so well. XUE as well.
Note that the non-playing hand keeps a grip on the wheel to stop the chair moving unwantedly. So it's a fairly brief warm-up, really. Let's go through the routine that they're well familiar with, and then we'll be into the competition fairly smartly. Here we go then. Class 3 gold medal match. XUE Juan, top of the screen. Li Qian.
Li, of course, yet to drop a game in this competition. I wonder if that will continue here.
Just a little dispute about the score. Let's go get this right. One. 4-1 to Li early.
Oh yes, getting the forehand working, Li Qian. Gold medalist at Beijing. A couple of team golds as well. Oh, great point. Great stretching from XUE. Her first Paralympics, and her first final. First medal already guaranteed.
Good serve into the body of Li.
So much energy in that serve from XUE Juan. Li looks a bit more inscrutable, doesn't she? Not giving much away. And that's another great bit of work from XUE. Very fast, flat serve from Li.
Ends a run of 4 points for XUE.
Just too wide. Nicely placed by Li. XUE trying to cramp up Li with a shot to the body. Didn't work.
And Li dumps one into the net. XUE back to 7-all.
Debated. Yeah, all parts of the net being used. It's fascinating to see. There's the stretch from Li. Had to make it, did, but it set up the point for XUE.
There's a lot of eye-to-eye contact here. There's a body language war going on.
Yeah, well, unlike the standing athletes, of course, you sat at the table. You are really just looking across at your opponent almost all the time. 2 game points then for Li. It seemed like she had that point won, but a good comeback from XUE. Still a chance to take an early advantage here. Oh, yes.
That's the angle. So going to extra points here in the first game.
It's long. It's long. Good serve again. Really flat and fast. You'll see little adjustments depending on the class. Certainly in the wheelchair version of this game. Serve being one of them.
And against the odds, XUE has taken the first game 12 points to 10, trailed early, and she's only beaten Li 1 out of 9. Good start.
Really cracked that forehand. That's just what it means in this final. There's no coach because they're both Chinese players. The coach will be sitting in the stands and they will take their own counsel. Happened in the Olympic final, the men's final. And I think that's a nice, fair way to do things, actually. They, I'm sure, would have got advice beforehand.
It doesn't take long to start an argument about whether coaching should be allowed during a contest. Some sports allow it, some don't. Of course, there's half-time in some team games where, of course, there's lots of discussion with coach and players.
Tennis, you know, it's not allowed, is it? It is. You're allowed to look up and smile at your coach, but no more than that.
Except for Davis Cup and Fed Cup, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Well, certainly Xue would have been buoyed by the fact she came back, saved a couple of game points, and then took her opportunity. Another war cry from the 26-year-old, just a year younger than Qian, who's in a bit of pressure here. 4 straight points, and if you add that to the game before, that's an extra, is it another 2 points? So she's on a roll. If there was a coach, there might well be a timeout at this point. Not sure whether you actually call your own timeout to talk to yourself. Yes. I suppose you can do, just to disrupt the momentum.
See if you listen.
That one's long as well, straight into the lap of Xue. Wow. The form book would say this is unlikely to happen, but we're seeing it. Oh, but that's a great response. Look how fast that serve is, and look at the control. And the angle is everything. Away from the reach of Xue, and Xue can reach a long way from that chair. Oh, just changed her mind. Played some lovely inside-out backhands, did Xue, but in the end, Li just coming back now. Oh,
that's just dribbled over the net for a 6-3 lead for Xue.
I'm sure Xue would say that she meant it, but I think it was just a reflex. It got her over the net.
Li just changing up the service action a little. Give Xue something different to look at.
Oh, almost landed that forehand. Took a real part of the net and bounced over and past the edge. And this is turning into a tighter second game than we might have thought at the beginning. Lovely point from Xue, stretching Li. Couldn't do it that time. Back to just the point advantage.
A quiet celebration of points that Li has. Xue a bit more expressive at the table.
Fast and flat service, paying dividends for Xue, who is having the advantage here. And she has 4 game points to race into a 2-0 lead in this gold medal match. It's going long, still 3 to defend here for Li, but she does have the serve.
That's that. Well, Xue, this would just be her 2nd win from 10 matches against Li. If she's can pull it off, she's 2/3 of the way there.
Getting the towels the right way around, quite important really. Anyway, XUE looks quite relaxed. Li at the table, 2 games down already, and something of a surprise really. Remember, XUE had to save 2 game points in the first game, and since then she's been on a roll, and she can win this and take the gold. It's a long road back for Li if she wants to be top step of the podium like she was in Beijing.
Try having a quiet chat to herself.
That's much better from Li.
We saw the good reach of XUE Juan in that rally. Eventually won by Li.
Good shot there of the bat. One side smooth, one side the pimples. One for imparting spin, one for blocking. She's raced away again in this 3rd game for unanswered. Well, all of a sudden, well, there has been a timeout called. There you go, did wonder about that. She's on a roll, and Li would want to just break that, if nothing else. So she'll sit, have a think. Hope that XUE will be disrupted in her form.
Not much point trying to listen into the coach's advice. There's none to be heard. It's probably being Mandarin.
It is a bit odd, but I admire the Chinese coaching staff for saying, look, you know, we favour neither of you. You go out there and battle it out amongst yourselves, and I'm sure they'll be delighted. However it ends up. (5-1) and 2 games to nothing. XUE in the driving seat here. Oh, just unable to get the angle. And it's 6-1 here. We are closing in on a win. Little respite for Li. She takes a point, but it's 2 serves now for XUE. Couple of good forehands. Well, is there to be a comeback? Another twist in the tail of this. And it's gone long again. And it's back to just 2 points the difference. Oh, a great exchange and more good forehand work from Qian.
Timeout called by XUE this time. There's a little bit of a comeback underway from Qian, world number 2. Back to back, they faced each other. He just seems strangely out of sorts. Slightly favoured to take the gold, but trailing still by a point in the third, and dropped the first two, 12-10 and 11-7. So XUE's tactic with the timeout to take the momentum away from Qian, who's coming back at her. It often works. Let's see the next couple of points.
Oh, she serves a fault. Couldn't find the end of the table. And that's exactly what you don't want to do when you come back to the table, having had a big lead. Still has the advantage, of course. She's got to look at the scoreboard and tell herself, no need to panic just yet.
She's won 6 points in a row, Lee.
Oh, and another one there. Crashing forehand. It's the forehand that's been working for her in this game.
Well, Lee's turned the game on its head.
XUE with the serve, by the way. And she eventually gets a point. It's taken a while.
It was 7 in a row from Lee that got her back into this third and potentially final game. XUE.
Straight at the
find what
body.
she had, yeah, straight in and too quick. Lee looked strangely uninvolved in the first couple of games.
Oh, yes. Now she makes a little bit of noise. She's been very quiet, hasn't she, last couple of points? But that's something back to her best. And long again from Lee. A little bit tucked up there on the forehand. That's better from XUE.
Was a let. No,
it's not.
It's match point.
Gold medal points. And she's done it. Oh, a big wobble in that third game. But she held on and she takes the gold medal.
An extraordinary third game where she raced out to a lead of 5 and 6 points. Then Lee won 7 in a row, hit the lead and then stopped. And that's allowed XUE Juan to pick up just her second match against Lee in 10 attempts, and it certainly matters, this being for the gold medal, and it goes to XUE Juan of Beijing.
Yeah, battle between Beijing and Nanjing, where the Youth Olympics were a couple of years ago, and it was an excellent exhibition from both of these, but XUE, having had to have salvaged a couple of game points in that first game, then went on a run of her own. And the third game, you thought perhaps Lee was just going to come back into it. She is ranked just one place above XUE in the world, gold in Beijing. But this is the woman at her first Paralympics who takes the gold medal.
Match over in 20 minutes, and 12-10, 11-7, 11-9 to XUE Juan over Qian.